So we're on the set of Finding My Way Back. Who do I have here?
My name is Callie, and I'm the founder of Phoenix Arise Foundation.
My name is Cassandra Harvey, and I am a human trafficking survivor.
I am Naeisha Marks. I am one of the leads for STPGX Get Heard. It is a sex trafficking prevention program where we mentor, support, and educate young women in the Jane and Finch Community Center. I am a creative and a human rights activist, passionate about advocating for marginalized women in the community.
Why are you doing the work that you're doing right now?
With sex trafficking, ex-human trafficking, it's usually a lack of support that women are feeling, the lack of education, or just the lack of knowledge of the situation that they're going through, or just their self-worth. I really wanted to be someone for young women to seek out, to support, and turn to when they needed support. As a Black woman, I never learned how to build healthy relationships or what it was like to be in healthy relationships. I struggled with understanding what my self-worth was and how that tied to the way I showed up in the world. I really wanted to be an impact, a leader, and a mentor to young women, and really show them that there's a different way of thinking, teach them about their self-worth, about self-love, and what it truly means to not only have healthy relationships with yourself, but with others.
I had started doing interviews with a lot of people just to kind of understand the depths of sex trafficking and the impact that it has. And through that, I learned that even though there's so many organizations out there, there are so many gaps that are still left to be filled. And a lot of the organizations out there, unfortunately, also do re-traumatize so many survivors and victims, which is very unfortunate. So my goal was to start this organization so I could be that voice for survivors and make sure nobody was either A, re-traumatized or left alone. When I was searching for names, I just kept on remembering that a phoenix will always rise from the ashes, and there were so many times in my life where I felt like it was the end and that I wouldn't survive another day. And every single time I felt like I was reborn and I would just come back stronger than ever.
Why is it important for you to share your story through the work that you're doing?
It's really important for me to share my story because that's how we learn. I think we sometimes experience things and we think that we're the only ones going through it. A lot of times when things happen to us, we feel alone, we isolate ourselves, and we oftentimes don't seek out support and help. I know growing up, I really struggled with holding in my emotions. I never had people in my life really to talk to about certain things. When certain things happened to me, when I was uncomfortable with certain things, I just kind of suck it up and kept going about my day and going through it. As I got older, I realized how much that truly impacted my life and how much the traumas I've been through as a young girl really impacted the way I saw myself and the way I navigated relationships. So I really wanted to be someone that could be the person that I needed when I was younger, be that support system, be that mentor, and be a leader of some sort to the young women that I see and talk to every single day.
It's important to share my story because I grew up with no one sharing their story. And so I felt like when I was growing up, a lot of what I was experiencing only felt like something that was just me. I kind of felt that I was put on this earth to experience pain. And so sharing my story kind of helps me heal my inner child in a sense.
It is important for me to share my story because as I was going through being trafficked and abused and growing up, I always went and would research on Google and try and find somebody's story who was similar to mine. And every single time I fell short and I was unable to connect to anybody's story, which always made me feel like I was alone in my life and nobody would ever understand what I was going through, and that I had to stay silent because it seemed like my story was an anomaly, which I then learned it wasn't.
Why is advocacy important for you in this work?
Advocacy is the most important thing, I think, in this work. I think when you are navigating especially navigating the mindset that is embedded in marginalized women, it can be very hard to debunk the stereotypes, the lessons, the traumas, the generational traumas, and thus forth other things that we've experienced on a day-to-day basis. It is very important to be someone to advocate for young women, to speak up for young women and female identifying people as well, and being someone that is not afraid to say what is on your mind, not afraid to make the conversation a bit uncomfortable, and being honest and raw with your audience. I think that's the best way to navigate any adversity truly. It's about being who you think the world needs and seeing what needs to be fixed and being strong and brave enough to say that and advocate for that as well.
Advocacy means to me giving somebody else the space to find their voice and being that person who's going to speak up for them when they feel like they can. There are so many times in my life where I just didn't exactly know the words of what I needed, and there were so many people throughout my life who were able to kind of step in and be like, okay, this is what you need. Even something as simple as therapy. I never knew that I needed it, and so many people held my hand and walked me through that. For instance, my worker Everton, who came to one of my very first therapy appointments and helped me find my voice in that time.
It's important for me to be an advocate because somewhere there is a youth who was in the same situation that I was in and doesn't have anybody to look out for them or to help them articulate their words or advocate for themselves. And I think when I was growing up, again, like I didn't have that, and to be able now to help youth who are going through similar things that I'm going through is just, it's like a rewarding experience. There's no words that can really describe being able to help somebody.
How has leading change through your story impacted you?
Always had a passion for advocating for marginalized communities. I've always loved doing community work in general, but getting into this position has really shifted my mindset on what it really means to be a leader. The things I say actually matter. I think a lot of times I talk out of my butt and I just kind of say a lot of things over and over again, and I don't realize the impact that it has on people until they come to me later and they're like, oh, Naeisha, I took that into account. I remember when you told me this, or you remember when you told me this, I realized that this wasn't okay. Or just other situations where youth feel uncomfortable and they say, Naeisha, you know, this made me feel weird. I don't like this. That's my definition of leadership, just being a safe space for them, being someone that isn't judging them or waiting for them to fail, but always wanting to see them do their best and succeed, whatever that looks like for them.
For me, leading change through my story is one, taking back power of my story and not being ashamed of it, and showing that even after everything I've been through in my life, there's still a chance that I could be greater than the pain that I was caused. And through that, I also think it's important to show, especially youth, that no matter what you're going through in this moment, this doesn't have to be your forever, and you can make that change. And there are people out there who will be willing to listen to your story and hold your hand and walk you to the light.
When I was growing up, a lot of my friends were involved in gun violence, and I lost a really good friend of mine a few years ago. And I think to be able to be in a position where I can share my story and help people, especially youth, I think we focus so much on preventing sexual assault and human trafficking and all of these things, but we're not focused on helping youth not become traffickers, and we're not helping young boys deal with their emotions and understand that A, it's okay to cry, B, it's normal to get an education. You don't have to look for alternative means. And to be able to eventually, when I become a lawyer and practice criminal defense, to be able to help youth find their way back, I think it's priceless. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything else in life that I could be doing that would give the same feeling of being an advocate.
What does it mean to be a mentor?
I think it's holding safe space for youth, women, whoever is really coming to your space, holding that space for them to recognize what is happening to them, but also holding that space for them to learn what is happening to them. Being a mentor to me is teaching. I think a lot of times, like I said, I say a lot and I don't think it matters or it has that much of an impact on their life. But when youth feel comfortable coming to me, whenever they have an issue or a situation happening, and they want to be vulnerable and they're allowed to feel like they can just be themselves and say whatever they feel, I truly feel that that's what mentoring means to me. It's being the person that I needed when I was younger and being the person that I want them to be as well.
Was there anyone that supported you on your journey?
There was a worker at Covenant House. His name is Everton, and I was an angry ball of fear and shame, and I would treat everybody with disrespect disrespect, and I would try and fight workers. I was just very misunderstood, and I didn't trust anybody. And he was the first person to pull me aside and tell me his story, and also show me that you can choose to either be angry at the world, or you can choose to do something about the pain that you've been through. And in that moment, and I know it's not as easy for everybody, but it was like something snapped in my brain that told me I'm going to choose a different path, and I'm going to become what he was to me. And he has been my light since I was 15 years old, and he's still in my life today. And I just wish I could be a quarter of what he was to me to somebody else.
What does asking for help look like for you?
Asking for help looks like finding your power and believing in yourself. So many times there's this harmful narrative of asking for help means that you're weak, when in reality, being vulnerable and admitting that you need help is the biggest strength. And it takes so much power for a person to be able to do that. It sets aside ego, it sets aside pride, and it also sets aside that shame and guilt that seems to swallow people whole. I know it swallowed me whole. And reaching out for help means that you are not going to allow your past or the bad situations that have happened to you to take control of your life, and you're going to own your life.
How has sharing your story offered you strength?
It's helped me understand what I want to do in my career, and it's helped me take back my power. And not to say that I never had a voice and I couldn't ever talk about what had happened, but it's helped me it's helped me become the woman that I am today, and be strong, and to not let anybody ever think that they can just walk all over me because of my past.
Was there anything that you would want to say to your younger self?
It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And to be gentle with yourself, because the world can be a really, really cruel place. And just being so hard on yourself really, it doesn't do any good, and it will get better.
How is your story supporting survivors?
Being trafficked is a really awful and horrible experience, and I think you really see the cruel side of the world and how horrible people can be. And to be able to share my story and have survivors reach out to me and be like, hey, you're the first person I've known who's spoken publicly about this. It's incredibly rewarding. And I'm a big advocate for everybody, and I'm very vocal about my experiences. And I think that even when you do exit from being trafficked or assaulted, there's still so many challenges that you're going to face, especially sharing your story with nonprofits, with organizations. Sometimes there's going to be jobs if you're vocal and people won't want to hire you because of the stereotypes and myths of someone who was sex trafficked or sexually assaulted. So being able to share my story and have survivors reach out to me and say like, hey, you're doing a great job. I don't think there's anything else that's more. It's just a priceless opportunity.
What advice would you give someone watching this documentary? Don't
take shit from anybody. I think that's the advice I would give. I don't think we realize how capable we are, how much trauma your body can handle, and how you're able to see yourself out of that. And don't let anybody tell you that you can never do something, because I can guarantee you will be the first person to do the same thing that someone told you not to do. And you get 100% of all of the things that you don't ask for. And I've always been a firm believer that if you don't ask, then you're making the decision for yourself that you won't get something. So don't give up on yourself. Don't take shit from anybody, and be your authentic self and share your story, because there's always going to be someone else who's gone through something that you have. And when they come to you and they say thank you, it's going to feel amazing, and you're going to be able to help so many people.
One thing is, no matter how dark the world might seem, no matter what you're going through in your life, just know that there is hope. Never give up. You can always reach out to us, and there's so many great organizations that are willing to help you, and sometimes it just starts with somebody being an ear. I know that's all it took for me. Another thing is, never give up in yourself. always dream bigger than you can imagine. And even if somebody's telling you that that's not possible, or you feel like yourself it's not possible, it is. I never thought I would live past my 16th birthday. That's what my mom told me my entire life. And now I'm 26. I have my own business, and I also have a nonprofit where I'm able to go out and support people who are in a similar position to me. So no matter what you think, there's a chance that you might have a beautiful life.
My name is Cassandra, and sharing my story helped me find my way back.
My name is Naeisha, and STPG helped me find my way back.
My name is Callie Love, and I'm the founder of Phoenix Rise Foundation, and sharing my story helped me find my way back.
This is so awkward.
What movie is it?
However you guys want to pose now.
I feel like we're in a JC Penney show.